419 with Gretchen DeBacker, Matt Killam, and Kevin Mullen.
Welcome into the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Witro Wealth Management. We're already off and running.
We should get a clip of what Matt says in the 3 seconds prior to them saying this. Because it makes me laugh every day.
Yeah, I'm Kevin Mullen.
Gretchen DeBacker.
I'm still Matt Killam.
It's not just the 3 seconds before, it's the 3 seconds after they say quiet on the set.
Yeah, but I don't trust what those people are saying. I've never even met them before.
No.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
We've got an exciting show today.
I'm excited
as
about
we do
this.
on every Tuesday. We talk to community leaders that are making a difference in Northwest Ohio. Our friends at the Community Foundation support us in promoting people and amplifying the voices of individuals who are dedicated to making Toledo better.
It's very clear that Toledo Community Foundation is on the move. They're on the fast growing upward trajectory. They're really, Kate and her team are really doing some amazing things. I've been working with Sarah to get us these guests for our Tuesday shows that they're helping support. So some really good gets, and today's no different.
I think, obviously, this isn't necessarily an about face from a strategic standpoint, but you talk about a time their impact is going to matter so much. Kate, who is very humble and probably will have a chill in her occipital when I say this out loud, but is a great leader in the team that she's assembling. So the individuals that we have that had the good fortune of having on our show, as you've articulated, talk about things that are important. And if no one's going to come to help us in Northwest Ohio, so we have to help ourselves. And we've got a guest today that just certainly embodies that thinking.
Yeah, so we're going to have Ryan Bunch from the Toledo Design Collective.
Sorry. Sorry.
And former king of the Old West End Parade also.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Another claim to his fame.
And then also Sarah Best is back on the show. I think
it's going to be terrifying.
Outside of if we subtract episode 1, which was sort of chaos with a bunch of guests.
Yeah, unlike now, the well-oiled machine that we're delivering.
I think Sarah might be our first, maybe outside of our WorkSpring friends. So a lot of qualifications here.
Kevin, are you going to land this plane, Kevin?
Our first repeat guest.
That's not true, but she is a dear friend of the show, and we're thrilled to have her.
Well, tell our audience briefly what Sarah's going to be doing with us.
So when Sarah was on the last time, we talked about predictive index, and both Matt and I had taken the predictive index before, but you had not.
Correct.
And so you have since completed the PI. And
you're
Sarah,
being deported, I've heard.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Sarah is going to come on, and I think I can say psychoanalyze the three of us.
I think she's going to tell us how we can best also interact with each other. I think that the result is going to be you both just need to do what I say.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I don't want to speak for her because she's the expert, but that's my predictive index.
And I don't want to ruin the segment, but Sarah and I used to be friends. I took the test and she hasn't spoken to me since.
Because you came back sociopath?
Yeah, I don't. Well, we're about to find out.
Yeah,
that will be, I'm looking forward to that. I'm a big fan of predictive index. I'm fascinated by how much it can tell about you in a short period of time in questions. But I've shared when Sarah was on last time, when I read my predictive index report, it was like, I don't know that anybody has
predicted your index better.
That's right. But I felt very seen.
It's a very short quiz. It's a very short assessment.
But anyway, the feeling of this segment.
Yes, unlike this.
Which feels like my grandfather's grave.
Let's take a break.
Okay.
When we come back, Ryan Bunch is going to save us.
Thank God.
And
Thank you, Ryan.
as well. All right, we'll be right back on the 419.
Thank you, Ryan.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at WitroAdvisors.com.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.
Introducing The Local Thread, a community news series uniting voices and storytellers from across the region. In partnership with La Prensa, the Toledo Free Press, the Sojourner's Truth, and Toledo Public Schools, The Local Thread brings you stories and conversations that connect our community. Hear it weeknights at 7 on FM 91 with early access on podcast platforms each morning. The Local Thread, only on WGTE.
Welcome back to the 419, powered by WGTE. Our friends at the Community Foundation are supporting us, talking to great people who are making an incredible difference in our community. We're joined now by Ryan Bunch, the studio director for Toledo Design Collective. Ryan, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's great to see you guys.
I don't know, you and I have talked a whole lot about your role. I think you've been there 2 years now, which feels like, it does not feel like it's been that long.
Feels like he owns it.
Thank you. Okay. What is, if people aren't familiar, what is Toledo Design Collective?
Yeah, so we're what's called a community design center. There's 60 of us around the country. There's 3 of us in Ohio. Ours turns 25 this year, actually later this month, which we're really excited about.
You look great for 25.
Thank you.
He beat Matt so mad he got that joke at first.
We really are like a neighborhood-based organization. So what we exist to do is support community on the ground to establish vision for where the neighborhood is going to go in the future and a path to get there.
Who are the members, if that's how it's set up? Who are the members of the collective?
So we have a small staff. There's 5 of us, three primary, and then we have an internship program. So we've had over 50 interns over the years that have come from all over the region, which we're really excited about. And then we have 23 board members. So they come from all over the community. We have some folks from the metro parks. We were established by retired architects, landscape architects. So it's a lot of folks from that profession that really thought, here's a way we can kind of give back and lend these skills and services to communities that otherwise typically wouldn't be able to afford that.
Is it about city planning? Is it about architecture? Is it about streetscapes, beautification?
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
yes, all of the above.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're in urban planning, design, and community engagement. Those are kind of our 3 primary buckets. And really what it is when we, and I could nerd out on this forever, right? But the sort of gist of it is, over time, our city was built to be very walkable, right? We see the trolley lines coming up through the streets, and which were widened over time, right? We became a very car-centric culture. Expressways went in, sprawl happened, all of these things. And really, I always say a lot of times, it's really about just kind of getting back to the intentional way that the city was planned and designed in the first place, which was for how do you get the baker next to the meat slicer, next to the produce stand. Yeah, that's exactly. You go to Matt's house.
How can you get the baker in It's your vision to put a baker within 5 miles of every Lucas County resident.
That's exactly right.
And
we're working on that as we speak. Yes.
That's right. It's a bold vision, and I cannot do. I cannot.
I'm in favor of it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So if you want to build a sandwich on a block, right, and you want each one of those sandwich components to be a business, you have to get people walking on that block.
Ryan, you mentioned building for the neighborhood for tomorrow. Who's involved in the building and planning, and who has a say? And talk to me about the how that is put together in a recipe.
Yeah, sure. It's primarily the people that are there, right? I mean, that's where you start with who's there, and especially we work a lot in Central City, Toledo, right? So these are neighborhoods that have endured some tough decades, to put it mildly, right? And so I think it's about honoring the voices. I mean, some folks really had visions for their neighborhood that never got to see any of the things that are happening now realized, right? And so I think it's about honoring the people who put in like real work in the city that we all stand on the shoulders of. So honoring those voices, who are those people today, and how do you bring those people together? And then who's going to be there 50 years from now, right? Is the kids, right? That are ideally, right? Yeah. And so I think it's really the kind of perfect balance of bringing all of those folks together, and then people who care. Not everybody lives directly in that place. Maybe they moved out, or their parents used to live there. They have some affinity or affiliation or affection, and it's really about getting all of those people in the room.
How do you get people to care?
Yeah.
Or if they care, how do you get them to trust the Toledo Design Collective as an actor in the space?
Yeah, those are both great questions, and that's there is not an answer to that, right? I say all the time.
Don't duck the question, Ryan.
The work is never, the work is never done, and I think to me, community engagement work is it's a dinner party, right? When somebody ideally either invites you or you invite yourself and say, oh, that sounds really great. I'd love to come over for dinner sometime. Sure. And then you come in and then you find out what the rules of the house are. Are we taking our shoes off or are we allowed to leave them on? When we sit at the table, are we talking about touchy subjects or are we keeping it light, right?
Ryan, let me ask you, I hate to put you on the spot right away, but you go to a place and someone tells you to take your shoes off. What is your immediate reaction?
I leave.
I'm with you, brother. Yeah. They're like, where's the nearest bakery? I'm with you. Take my shoes off. I've been to this dump 1,000 times. Yeah. God, that drives you. I'm sorry.
No. My wife and I were just having this conversation.
Yeah. I won't go.
Yeah.
It's like I wouldn't describe what I do as a career, but if there is something that I mark success with, it is if I think it has dress pants involved, send someone else.
Well, my biggest concern is I live in the Old West End. I have an old house, which
Tell me
means
more.
there's a lot
nails
of
popping up.
nails coming up. So
you can't have a
my
blood trail in there.
newest pair of gold-toed socks that was gifted to me for Christmas, on day one, got a hole in the bottom.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to tell you what happened to mine.
Yeah. Yikes.
No, I also poked a hole in it.
Oh, okay.
How are you guys funded? I mean, is this something where when somebody brings you in, the neighborhood's paying you to do this work?
Yeah,
or?
so we have kind of an interesting model. We one of the things that's fascinating about TDC to me, as somebody who's worked in the nonprofit space for a long time, is we were entirely volunteer run and self-funded for 16 of our 25 years. So being established, Bob Seafang, who was our founder, Bob just turned 90, and Bob just stepped down from the board last year. Right?
Yeah.
So. And Bob started this organization when he retired. So that was 23 years of volunteer service. So most of our board were retirees that were lending their later years to gifting these skills back. So one, we had a very low cost, right? For a long time, we were able to be really nimble. If we needed something, they would just kind of chip in and take care of it. But now we are predominantly fee for service, and then we're supported by local corporations, individual donors.
Can we go back a little bit and talk about the young Ryan Bunch? I think that I hope that you know that I've long since admired your work and your involvement in the community. Many people know that you used to work for a long time at the Arts Commission, but let's talk about, are you from Toledo? Have you lived in Toledo your whole life?
I'm a proud Southeast Michigan native.
Okay.
I always say that if the war breaks out again, I'm going
You're
home.
going-
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I
No,
love you
that's
guys,
fine.
but
That's fine.
I'll be over the border.
We now know, so we're good. Okay.
So I grew up in Monroe County in a small rural town called Ida. But my dad worked in Detroit, my mom worked in Toledo, and so I always kind of say I did an internship in DC in college, and my friends there were always like, "Where are you from?" Because I would talk very fluidly about these two states and these two cities. And I'm like, I'm from this sort of gray stretch, between those two places. But I moved. I took that internship in DC. That was my first semester at UT. Was in Washington DC because my intent was that I was never coming back.
Right.
Like a lot of people, right?
Right.
I wanted to go to a place that had culture as if it was a destination. And what I learned there was that I was from a culture. I was just so in it I couldn't see it, right? So I had to get out of it. And then I became really enthralled with this place and very intentionally moved back here to get involved in the arts community, which at that time was kind of a wish and a prayer. Frankly, I was like, I think this can happen.
That was also the name of your first band.
I think this can happen.
A wish and a prayer.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the second band. I think this could happen. Both equally beloved. What was the number one song that you guys performed?
Oh, it was This Is Never Gonna Happen.
So good.
That was a great one. It was a banger.
Yeah, they played that at my wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your divorce party.
Yeah, one and the same. Yeah,
Yeah.
we had the whole day, so we didn't know what to do.
You just went right into it.
Yeah, that's the joke.
What did you study in collge?
Creative writing.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you are.
Where do you keep all the money?
It's in the poems. That's where the wealth is, Matt.
Yeah, what a deep thought.
Yeah. You are a writer. You are a poet. Is that the primary sort of art that you practice?
Yeah, they said if you're going to be a poet, you're going to have to pay the bills. And I thought, well, nonprofit administration should do the trick.
It sounds genius. Right. That'll cover everything.
Couple these things together and working at the Sunglass Hut. Yeah.
We just had the folks, a couple of young people that on Ode to the Zip Code on the show, and you were involved in that, or you participated?
I helped start that program, with Fair Housing Center, and then we, how old is it now? Like 13,
I think
15?
they said 11, something like that.
Yeah, it's up there. It's over 10. So I was, that was one of the things when I worked at the Arts Commission, which is kind of, I have to give a shout out, I was actually I had finished up, I was working at the city paper as the arts and entertainment editor, and I had left that job and I was going to finish college for one of the many times I was going to finish college. Sure. And I was going to leave again. And I was like, I'm good here. I'm going to go. I've done some things. I got involved in the art scene. I'm ready to go on. And I was like, the only other place in town that I would want to work is the Arts Commission. And they had, at that time, had not hired in years. And this was in the middle of the Great Recession. Congresswoman Capter got a small business grant through the Americans for the Arts. And that opened up a part-time opportunity. And that turned into a career.
Wow.
So,
and remind me what your job title was there, what you were responsible for.
So I was early on became the Performing and Literary Arts Coordinator. Okay. So my job was specifically to sort of build awareness for the literary arts through the Arts Commission, which had at that point was predominantly a visual.
Where did you talk about being an artist, working in the nonprofit sector, and sort of accepting that you're not going to get paid what your talent would be worth in a different sector. Sure. Where does that drive come from?
That's a wonderful question. I just recently partnered up with Bird's Eye View Circus, and we did this aerial silk circus poetry performance thing. And I literally, as I was walking in there, I was like, how did this happen?
Yeah, right. Who am I?
I bet you're wondering how we got here.
I think it really kind of still goes back to that, that there was a specific moment on the Metro in DC where I kind of had this reverence for something that we take for granted here, which it happens now less, but trees growing up inside of old buildings, and really just seeing, one, the beauty in that, and then two, the potential in that. And I think at the core, that's the thing that I always come back to. It's I'm fascinated by that, and I just want to interact and be part of it.
Do you write now? Do you
write?
Yeah.
Write? Yes.
Do you like to exclusively write? But it sounds like with this Bird's Eye thing that you also like to perform what you write.
I do, and there's kind of two answers to this. One is that I've sort of really been enjoying the idea of publishing, but not traditionally. And I think this is there's some Midwestern thing where we can't just allow ourselves to take the easy way out, right?
Right.
And so I'm like, well, what's the fun in just sitting around writing? Why don't I do it live in front of people in real time?
Yes.
Strangers.
Yeah, and so I've been doing that, and it's been really fun, and now I'm kind of addicted to that.
But explain that to our audience, because it's a thing where you have either a little keyboard or a typewriter, whatever your mechanism is, but someone comes up to you, you ask them, you explain it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I have a project called the Human Poetry Machine, and the core of this is I got invited to do a poetry reading, and I waited till the last minute, and I didn't prepare. And I thought, well, instead of doing all the work to put that together, I'll just write poems for people.
Genius.
Because I thought it would be easier.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
No.
People are probably right now thinking, what on earth? Why could you?
Yeah.
That would put some people over the edge.
Yeah. So I do it in a couple ways, but the idea is that you fill out kind of a little prompt with some questions about yourself, and then we sit and have a brief conversation. And then while my friend Natalie Trinelli takes your photograph, that photograph goes into the typewriter.
Monster.
Yeah.
That lady can take the energy right up.
You're telling me. It's terrible.
Yeah. Well, for all kids,
not fun to be around either.
That's right. Yes.
Terrible laugher.
Always a real pessimist.
But
a terrible laugher. Yeah. For those of you who do not know, a friend of anyone who's met her, Natalie Trinelli, also the Art Commission, a wonderful photographer, and even better person.
Yeah. She's amazing. So we have a little conversation, and then you get a poem about you typed onto the photograph of you. And so the Bird's Eye thing was kind of similar. People came in, the audience each filled out a prompt, so it was 50 prompts, And then while the other performers were performing, I kind of went back and
how do you get psyched up for something like
Chat
that?
GPT this and just got
yeah,
it.
exactly. If you put Chat GPT into the typeywriter, it comes out great.
Yeah, I mean, there's moods that you have to be in to write. I mean, even if I'm like writing a motion for court, if I'm not in the space at that day or time to do it, it's just not going to come out.
Have you thought about using his strategy
thought
of just
about it,
having
going to
somebody
court.
bring their mugshot to you, and then you actually type the motion?
If this murder
Genius.
isn't motivating, I just, and some days it's just not there.
It's just not. You just can't get into it. But how do you?
No, it's a great question.
What happens if you get to the event and you're supposed to be writing poetry live? And
Every day that I commit to this, in the morning I wake up and go, wait, there's no chance. How are you going to do this?
Yeah.
But you guys are performers, right? Like you come in when they say go, you just go. And when you've made that commitment.
That is
wait a minute. No, what is it? You come in.
When they say go, what do we do?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I think the accountability of being there live in front of people is the inspiration. I think that's why I'm a little bit addicted to this process, because you don't have the choice to think out.
You can't.
Let me pour a little bit onto that as well. There is it is very difficult, other than I guess substances, to get that adrenaline push. One, we are wired a little bit the same way, although you're far superior. You don't have to prepare, and you can't.
Yeah.
It is coming for you, and it triggers the juice, right?
That's right.
Because you know it's coming, and the terror is coming. As a million times as I've had to perform or whatever, I wouldn't be able to eat. If it was a night show, I would be able to eat at lunch, even after a decade.
Yeah.
So
Let's take a break. When we come back, I want to talk more about this. I am interested. I made a joke about ChatGPT, but I'm interested about your thoughts on technology and art, and where that plays.
and I've got some neighborhood questions.
But then, we got to get back to Design Collective as well. And I'm interested in kind of your vision. I mean, you're somebody who loves Toledo, your vision on this community and where it's going. Let's take a break. We'll be right back on the 419.
To me, community means connecting to others.
I'm Donnie Miller, and welcome to The Point.
I love CBS Kids!
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
I would send them personally a t-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the old West End, pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Vision loss for people is not the end.
It's a story, it's the next chapter.
WGTE Public Media invites you to Get Out and Play Day.
Monday through Friday, it's the 419 powered by WGTE. With Matt Killam, Gretchen DeBacker, I'm Kevin Mullen. What can people expect on the show?
It's going to be an hour, a reminder of why this is a great place to live, work, and play.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
Welcome back into the 419. We're talking with Ryan Bunch, the studio director of the Toledo Design Collective.
Yeah, Ryan, there's a theme here. What you were just describing about the poetry machine and your day job and lifelong passion about community work. You are a profound listener, and that's what makes you great at both the things you've just described, right? And a great friend. Talk to me about where you think that skill set came from. Talk to me about your folks and what makes you molecularly positioned to be good at all of these things. And please pass the humble, I'm saying this.
Yeah, no, that's incredibly generous of you, one. I'm glad you asked, because I do have a lot of reverence for sort of my family history. I'm what I like to refer to as a Czech hillbilly. So my family.
Easy, I just said easy with the brag.
My in the Czechoslovakian side of my family, I was very fortunate to know both of my great grandmothers and have a very adult relationship with all four of my grandparents.
Yeah.
And so I got to know a lot of that family history. And it's really split between, I asked my grandpa what part of Czechoslovakia we're from, and he said, it's like the hillbilly part. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'm glad you guys found each other. It's really kind of split between very Southeast Michigan auto workers, teachers. And so I got to know a lot of our family history, but I also really got these values instilled in me of one of caring for your community, right? I mean, this is like very, sort of one of my earliest memories was UAW protest in Washington, D.C. with my grandfather, who was a pretty notable union leader here.
And he was on the D.C. side?
That's right. Yes. Yeah. It was. Yeah. We were at the White House. So, but it was. It was very much. It was very much about like hard work, caring for people, and really like not taking for granted opportunities, right? And these all Depression era folks, and so good food on the table and getting the opportunity to learn became really important. So those values are instilled, I think, in a way that I never took for granted. The fact that I was like walking around Washington, D.C. On a scholarship, like to do this internship as the first art students in this internship program, like was never something that I brushed off.
Right.
It was like
it's important.
I valued it. So.
Yeah.
And at the risk of really putting you on the spot, because
I don't know if I answered the question.
You did. Yeah, I wasn't listening anyway.
Good, perfect. Me neither.
I guess I can make the example of my day job, which is the Metro Parks. We work on behalf of 420,000 people. You work on behalf of neighborhoods. And sometimes there is a difference between what people say they want and what you think the right thing is. So I'm saying on a conservation level, right? We want development here, or let's get rid of this wetland, right? Well, actually, you want the wetland here. There is some commonality when you talk about the historical components of it, of neighborhoods and what they should be like, and holding them, and the people who are inhabiting them today. How do you? I know this is a difficult and complex, but how do you bridge the two things?
Because you're saying this, I mean, sometimes people don't actually know what they want.
Well, Ryan and I both live in the Old West End, right? So we live in historic homes, and we are the current residents of it, but there are rules that will not allow us to do all manner of things in it. But we are the current owners of it. So, I guess a typical American, and I can say that you can take my meaning in that to either be positive or negative, but this is a neutral statement to me. I own the home, so I should be able to do what I want with it. Yeah. The neighborhood needs this today, but you are a steward of the history, Ryan, the Toledo Design Collective, a steward of the knowledge of how things need to be constructed to work and what people are saying they want.
Yeah.
Vacillating between these three buckets is overwhelmingly challenging, and you are a human being who has opinions. How do you balance all of these things?
So, really great question. And I think you hit on it. I say all the time about living in the Old West End, it's not an ownership, it's a stewardship. Our job is we're in a three-way relationship. It's me, my wife, and this 120-year-old woman that we live with who has needs, and sometimes they're urgent. Yeah. But our job is just to keep this thing upright for right now, right? And so I think it's this sort of, I kind of have this poetry in the city is kind of my like background thesis, right? Like the work that I'm doing as a creative writer is not all that different than the work that I do in my day job, which is it's based on listening. It's based on having the right amount of historical context and reverence and understanding where people are at to figure out what that story is. And sometimes, I think that part is the key. So sometimes people will say that they want something very specific, and I always use food as the example for this. But if you hear that people want they want food trucks, they want a grocery store. Well, no, and I'm going to kind of keep, it's like, when you start to line those things up, it's like, we want food trucks, we want a restaurant, we want a grocery store, and it's like, well, none of those things are going to happen. Like those are all complicated things to like make happen, but really, are we actually just talking about a food access issue? Probably so, right? And so maybe it's not about that thing. That's just the touch point that people know to go to.
It's like the result or the inclusion.
Right, and so it's like, okay, well, let's look at the larger issue. And then when you kind of that informs how I think we can bring knowledge to the space in a way that's, again, like honoring of the feedback that you're hearing. Yeah. So you're not coming in and going, let me tell you about food access in the Central City neighborhoods. Like, you're saying, hey, I heard these things. It sounds to me like maybe we're talking about this, right? Sure. And that changes the conversation.
Yes.
I don't know if this is a fair question, but like, I mean, as you look at the city of Toledo and neighborhoods and the way that they're used, is there a neighborhood that's just sort of screwed up right now? That like we've through
Got
development.
9 minutes.
I mean, what would that look like?
You can talk though. You don't need. Forgive how patronizing I was about to say, but you can certainly talk about. You mentioned something earlier, highways and things of that variety. So
yeah. I was going to say. I mean, my sort of area of expertise is Central City. That's where I live, work, and spend 90% of my life and time. And it is, and I'm enthralled with it because it is. I mean, it's the holder of the history of this region, right? I mean, it is.
Well said, Ryan.
It is the place where it's all happened and come and gone from. But it's also it's got a lot of issues, right? It's got infrastructure issues. Certainly, the highways were not helpful.
That's right. Inglewood in particular.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I mean, Junction neighborhood was the home of the first Mud Hen Stadium. It was an extension. It wasn't even an extension. It was inherently connected to the warehouse district by trolley lines, right? And so that expressway being there is no mistake. It curves around the backside of the museum for a reason. There's no reason it has. We live in a very flat area. I don't know if you know this. So an expressway that makes any turns at almost any moment was probably pretty intentional.
Yeah.
So, generally the Central City though holds about a third of our residents. It's about 90,000 people when you kind of put all those neighborhoods together. Our median household income in Toledo is $58,000 a year, which is $30,000 below the national average. The collective household income for that area is about 30 to 40% lower than that. So we have really old, expensive houses and buildings. We have a population that's earning less, and meaning the simple thing here is that are people able to participate in a way that's healthy and helpful for them and for everyone else, right? Like, do you have the spending power in your house to take advantage of the things that are happening? So that's, I think, a lot of, to me, that's like the core is how do we get everybody there, right?
What did you're married to the lovely Mel, who's a teacher at Toledo School for the Arts, had an epic City of Toledo wedding, which we don't have time to get into right now, but it was in fact epic.
I wasn't invited, so I wouldn't know.
I wasn't invited either. I saw the social media pictures. But what do you guys like to do when you're not doing other work? What's a fun thing that you guys like to do on the weekends together?
Yeah,
So
I was going to say it's. I spend an inordinate amount of time on Google Maps, and my Google Maps is plotted out with like regional day trips for specifically like food-based locations.
Okay.
So, but we kind of like to pair that with, it's like, okay, this is really kind of like the meal is the landing spot for other sort of like exploration, right?
Yeah.
So that's
what's
kind
the
of a big
food
piece.
pick that you would do? Is it sushi? Is it Indian? Is it?
Actually, I'm going to ask a different question because I know
Yeah.
a little bit about your culinary ventures. Give us just a couple off the way places that you've happened upon or heard about, and then whatever item is their thing that brought you there. Absolutely.
I will answer both of these questions. Yeah. I'm constantly in search of the perfect Italian sub sandwich, and the closest one I've found outside of Bari in Chicago is a place called Ventimiglia's in Sterling Heights, north of Detroit.
Huh.
And so it's fantastic. It's
That's the one that Jared was involved with?
Close.
What was that?
That's okay. We can edit this out. It's not lying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a excellent bread, fantastic deli, and it's in a little Italian grocery store that has all these like imported goods. It's about the size of this desk. It's adorable and great. So
for those of you who can't see, this desk is massive.
Yeah.
So it's not a helpful comparison.
What's your favorite local restaurant?
He didn't finish the list.
He did.
Take us around.
No, that was it. Another. Oh God, do I have another location? I don't.
Fun. Okay.
Let's do this. Let's dive right in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we doing it?
We're doing it.
Okay.
It's now time for
Gretchen's Wacky Quiz.
Did you hear me? Like, are we doing it? Are we doing it?
We're doing it. So when we say go, you just go.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to ask 4 rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Gretchen's going to ask you for your favorite, if you had to describe Toledo in one word, what would it be? And then you and Matt are going to list out the 9 best things in Toledo.
The fact that you're a poet should not put any additional pressure on you.
I just went. I also don't do well at urgent prompts, so I'm going to blank for all of every. I actually didn't listen to anything you just said, but
Perfect. Well, this will be great. I'll try and give you the easy ones.
Okay.
How many people are in your family?
my immediate family to technically 2.
Nailed it.
We do want the technical answers. Yeah.
What makes you laugh the hardest?
I love.
Jesus. This is unbelievable.
I told you.
Yeah, yeah.
What makes me laugh the hardest? I like really off-color comedy.
Okay.
What's something you daydream about?
I daydream constantly about what I'm going to be when I grow up.
Yeah, great answer, Ryan.
If someone texted you right now, who would you want it to be?
Oh, wow.
Did Killam is how it's pronounced.
Florence Nightingale was the first name that came to mind.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Well, that was going to be mine.
I don't know that she's got a cell plan.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That would be a haunting, I think.
What is one word you would use to describe the city of Toledo?
People might look at this as a negative. I think it's an extreme positive. It's gritty, and I like that.
I like that too.
All right, Ryan. It is 9 of your favorite things
Yes.
about the city or region.
9. Are you keeping count?
Yes.
I got you.
Okay, good.
Yep.
First one, Chili Mac.
Yep. What culinary institute did
Second
you
one,
go to?
Lake.
Yeah, Lake.
Okay.
Love
I just want to know how
The
he
high
went from
school
he's a
or the
foodie and then he led with Chili
Chili
Mac.
Mac.
Yeah.
Chili Mac's delightful.
Oh, I can go.
No,
go
you don't have enough time.
We have another segment.
Yeah.
High school or body of water? Lake.
Lake water.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, not the Flyers.
That's right.
Got it. Okay. 4.
Wait, are we on 3?
No, we're on 3.
Yeah, we're on
No,
3.
guys, I'm counting. I assure
No.
you.
I promise you,
it's
Chili Mac
3.
and Lake.
Chili Mac and Lake.
Yeah, he's on number 3.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
This
on
is
3.
his third one.
Yeah,
Okay,
third.
got
Tandor,
Yes.
the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna get it today.
This is your 4th one.
4th, Michael's
Yes.
Bar and Grill.
Great place for a wedding.
Not
too,
the
I've
craft
heard.
store.
No.
Okay.
It's a very strong no. Absolutely not.
I do not.
Yeah, we
I
all know
want
that.
every one of your 9
Wow.
to have like multiple
When it's
options.
not.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Lake,
Any,
body, water,
any
the school.
potential donors who are
Yeah.
crafters, just
Michael's-
left TDC.
Michael's
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
like
they
number
don't
1
listen to
sponsor.
this show, so don't fret.
All right, what am I on?
5.
You are
5.
on. You are doing your 5th one.
Okay. Metro Parks, and I'm going to be specific. Middle grounds.
I'll give you 2 for that. So now you're on your 7th, meaning you have 3 total to give me.
Okay. Am I allowed to choose people?
Yeah, of course you are.
Okay. I don't have anyone.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the show.
I love that he was like, oh, there's 3 left, and I can choose people.
Like, woof. It
and
took
there's
a while to
3
figure out how
people
many
in
family members he had.
What else do I like? I told you I was going to be very
What's
bad
your
at
dog's
this.
name?
I love my dog.
I know.
His name is Fido.
I know.
Yeah.
I know both those things.
Fido Buckminster Maximilian III is his full name.
That's right. Hold on. Keep going.
Yeah. We have 2 African clawed-toed frogs that don't ever get enough shine. The
tell you
dog
what, Ryan,
takes all the credit.
I usually say interesting when people say one of these things. I'm not going to there.
Yeah.
All right, 2 more things, brother.
2 more things. I like.
The art. Talk to me about the arts. Try to give me
the arts.
Yeah, something about it. That means so much to you. So try to put it in one
does.
line.
I like artists and I like artists' creative process.
Is there something about Toledo that breeds that, supports it, fulfills it?
No.
My man. No, that's a fair answer. That's a fair and honest answer.
Of course there is. What is that thing? It's the history here.
Yeah.
Is my answer. Which is also a thing that I love.
And the people.
Yeah, local
it can
history.
Be a cutthroat.
Wow, that was nerve-wracking.
I gotta tell you what, I am.
Well done.
I don't. That's nice of you to say.
Yeah, it is nice. It is nice of you to say. And Mel,
there was a comma. There was a comma. It was well, comma.
Yeah.
Done. Now we're done.
The last answer is, of course, your bride, who is the highlight of
that's
of
right.
all things.
Yeah, thank you.
She is an absolute.
I'm not going to bring up the fact that you mentioned the dog and not her, but that's not.
Nobody closed with her.
No. Okay. All right.
Take us out.
Brian Bunch, you're
If
amazing.
people want more
Thank you.
information on Toledo Design Collective, where can they find it?
At ToledoDesignCollective.org. ToledoDesignCollective.org.
Awesome. Nailed it. What's the next public performance?
I would urge everyone to join us on April 30th for our 25th anniversary celebration at Sophia Quintero Art and Cultural Center on South Broadway, which is a project that we've been working on for a long time. We're really excited about it. Next performance, I'm working on more circus gigs, which I'm really excited about.
Nice group of people with it.
humanpoetrymachine.com.
And there's information about the 25th anniversary on the website?
On Toledo Design Collective web.
Okay, great.
Toledo Design Collective.org.
.org.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Ryan Bunch, thank you so much for joining us. When we come back, we are going to get psychoanalyzed by Sarah Best. And she's going to tell you why I am the best. I think that's what that's going to happen,
That's
right?
probably what's
We'll be
gonna
right back on the 419.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at WitroAdvisors.com.
Destination Toledo. Whether you're a local or a visitor, Destination Toledo invites you to explore the region and be a tourist in Toledo. Find events, dining, and things to do at visittoledo.org.
WorkSpring. HR issues and employee well-being go hand in hand. WorkSpring supports employers through compliance, training, and wellness because healthy workplaces don't happen by accidents. Learn more at workspring.org.
Toledo Refining Company, a subsidiary of PDF Energy. Toledo Refining Company is a supplier of fuels that keep our region moving. Located in Oregon, Ohio, the refinery processes crude oil into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and other petroleum products.
And Tarda, celebrating its 55th year of connecting Northwest Ohioans to their community. More information at tarda.com.
Take WGTE with you, wherever, whenever, with the newly redesigned WGTE app. Watch our locally produced TV programming and your favorite PBS shows. Listen to FM 91 Live, stream our podcasts, and stay in touch with NPR News. Plus, get access to PBS Kids, great entertainment when you're on the go. All on demand in the palm of your hand. Download the WGTE app on the Apple App Store or Google Play today.
Welcome back into the 419. We are going to nerd out a little bit on ourselves in this segment. We're joined by our good friend, Sarah Best. Sarah, you are an expert on people and relationships, and every interaction I've had with you, you are so thoughtful.
Agreed.
And I think part of what you do, and we talked about the last time we had you on the show, was that you also work with the predictive index. If people aren't familiar, what is the predictive index? Maybe we start there.
It's a behavioral assessment. It is a psychometric tool that measures traits and natural behavioral wiring or drives. There are over 700 of them on the market. It's one that happens to be pretty simple and straightforward, which is why I like it. It's also valid and reliable for hiring people. But it just gives us practical insights that we can use. We like to say data, not drama.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I don't claim to be an expert. I just know the data. The data helps us recognize then what can we use, what can we do on purpose versus default. So may I just qualify by saying this is not good or bad. Predictive index or any of the behavioral data that people look at is not good or bad. It just is. And we need to understand it.
Right? In your business, when you're working with businesses or executives, and you put forward something like this, what do you do when someone says, well, I'm not that? Even if they've taken the index and it shows them to be that, how do you handle that situation?
Well, in fairness, you probably already saw it coming.
Probably, yes, you're right. I think that what I would often say there is, you are the expert on you. So this should be accurate based on the words you selected, but you're the expert on you. This is not meant to put you in a box. It's not meant to define who you are, but rather to reveal your natural behavioral wiring. I find that the people who question it the most are the people who, in our speak, would say, we would say they need to know. They have a high degree of patience. We call that the C factor. They have this drive that says, I have to have understanding. And if it doesn't make sense and there's no understanding, they may bristle.
Yeah.
All right, so you have, the three of us have taken the predictive index assessment.
Yeah.
You have layered these on top of each other and provided us with a relationship guide. So I've got one for Kevin and Gretchen. I've got one for Kevin and Matt.
First, you should tell us what we are, probably.
Yeah, let's start.
Well, let's start there. Well, and before I do that, can I just offer a simple framework?
Yes.
This is helpful for all of us. Head, heart, and briefcase. Head, heart, and briefcase, a whole person, and baggage. There's baggage too, but we're going to look at the head today. The head is the piece, the part of us that contains our natural default behavioral wiring and our cognitive ability. The heart is what contains our emotional intelligence, our values. It's what we do to express what is important to us. Head, heart. The briefcase is probably what we focus on the most, even when we're trying to develop ourselves. But it's the stuff that we've learned how to do. It's our credentials, what we put on LinkedIn. But when we think about all these things together, the head and the heart, really, the head is what deploys the heart in the briefcase. So our default wiring, once we know it, then we can use it on purpose. So as I say that, head, heart, and briefcase, we're just looking at the head part today. We have a promoter in Matt Killam. We have a captain here in Gretchen. And we've already talked about this, Kevin, you're a maverick. I noticed too, you've taken the PI a couple times. Let me just qualify that even though in the second or third time you took it, your pattern was slightly different, it still represents who you are at your core, which is this
Creep monster.
No, this profile. So let me just say this, Matt.
Yes.
A promoter is a casual, uninhibited, persuasive extrovert, hello, with a tendency for informality.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Doesn't that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Gretchen, a captain is a problem solver who likes change and innovation while controlling the big picture.
You can just put controlling them.
Well, and I imagine, when I think of the captain role, my partner John Brower is the captain. You're on the bow of the ship. You see all the moving pieces and parts. You have confidence in your own ideas. And you are also able to roll up your sleeves and jump down there and help swab the deck. But it's like coordinating all this.
Now, is that captain's voice so grating? Is it just like nails on
You're being
like
too
a shot out of a
right now.
shotgun in your face? Is that?
Well, here's the thing.
Okay.
A
No,
captain
here's the
can
thing.
be a captain can be very decisive.
Yeah.
A promoter is much more
Handsome,
collaborative,
good bone
harmony
structure.
seeking.
Sorry.
I don't know where you come up with this stuff. It's so good.
Me neither.
Harmony seeking, definitely informal. So you may perceive the captain as a little too direct and a little less warm and fuzzy than you like. Where's the collaboration? Why are you telling me what to do?
Yeah.
I don't like to be told what to do. Would that make sense?
Totally, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm interested in the things that, I mean, obviously we've been doing the show for 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm proud of what we've done and what we built, and I think we work well together.
You do.
But I'm curious, what is it about our this analysis that says we work well together, and then what are some of the challenges and pitfalls that that you can see that we've all, Matt is staring directly at Gretchen,
Well,
that you can see on paper, but
Yeah.
we might see in real life.
So let's just start with the innovation and the creativity that fuels and the energy that fuels your show, which is so excellent. You're kind of the originator of that, I would have to say, Kevin, because you're innovative, out of the box thinker as a maverick. You're a maverick. So think of like Top Gun, like risk taking. Just look at your trajectory and the series of businesses you've owned and what you've done. It's like, what else is there? Let's grow, let's make it bigger. So I think that influence shapes the energy here. And then you've got the captain who says, let's create order. Let's create the flow of how this is going to work. Let's have some respect for adhering to the structure, but have some flexibility. That's the thing about your formality, we would say. Gretchen, formality is a drive for conforming to rules and structure. You're kind of right in the middle, whereas these two gentlemen here are way over on the low side. They don't have a lot of need for that.
Or
but you
respect
bring
for
that. or respect for it. Yeah.
That's fair.
Or knowledge when it happens.
Yeah. So
That's right. Largely because it's dumb and then identifiable. Please keep going.
well, and then Matt, you continuously lift it up with energy. You all have really, you have good, it's not good. You have high extroversion, so this people focus, natural optimism, confidence in your own abilities, and then the extroversion creates a natural connection to the other person.
Yeah.
So you're not over here going, me, 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 me. You're really interested in highlighting and showing people and showing our community what's out there. So these patterns work really well together in creating something that has vibrant energy. It changes a lot, but you can kind of count on what you're going to have. See the captain and the maverick part of that in there, and then there's Matt who just continues to like kind of make it go in a lot of different directions. Talent. Okay. Good. Yeah. I think that the informality would be the only potential, we'll call it a caution area. That what you want to communicate may sometimes be a little watered down or hard to understand because it's couched in an informal way. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
You do. You do.
I feel seen.
As we think about us continuing to grow this show, or I guess maybe it's more broadly, so it's less about us and maybe slightly more relevant to the folks that are listening or watching this. How would I identify friction and think about how my personality and Gretchen or Matt's personality, somebody else's, what's the right way for me to approach that if I don't have this relationship guide in front of me?
Well, I think the first thing you can do is kind of check yourself. And there's a default way that you each operate. I think for Gretchen and Kevin, it's pretty similar. The only thing that's different about really the two of you, uniquely different, is that you have different levels of attention to the rules and regulations. You have different affinity for detail, but still a bit on the lower side. So you two may just resonate and think the same way. Matt, you have less formality. You have a great deal of flexibility. Interestingly for you though, you have patience too. So you have this higher degree of patience and this lower degree of attention to the rules, just as your natural wiring. And so there could be a need for steadiness, yet also a need for flexibility. Like I don't want to be boxed into a structure. So I think there's a nice balance that gets created here. We also have a team graphic. I think we'll be able to show that later or during, as they edit the show, they'll be able to show that. But on the team graphic, the three of you are concentrated up near the top. It's kind of like this.
Sure. I can hold it up.
Yeah, hold it up. And what that means about you is you're an exploring team. So there will always be opportunity, I think, for you to grow and build upon what you have. Yet, if you notice in our circumplex, there's some white space there. So we have these competing values. You are very risk-taking, big picture thinkers. Let's make it happen. You work fast, you're proactive. Really, all three of you, and you're very focused on people. There's not a lot of producing stability there, like the consistency. Not that this is a bad thing, but what will happen is you may gradually shift and change and not remember where you started from.
100%.
Like we reinvented a wheel here. Oh, but we did that last week too.
Sure.
So having some kind of protocol or
an anchor
that you follow can be helpful.
Yes.
But I'm also, since I live in that upper quadrant with you, I'm kind of like, but what's wrong with that?
Right,
It's
exactly.
fine.
If you're a member of a team, is it better to be any three-member team, executive team, whatever? Is it better to have everybody be a different
good question
diagnosis, or is
Profile?
or is it more like if all three of us were Mavericks, it might not work out as well, right?
That is such a
In
good
theory.
question. We get asked that question a lot. We would like to say, or we would respond to that by saying, the best team is a team that is designed to do the work you need to do.
Yeah.
So if you were accountants and you needed to create consistent process, flawless process, you would live down in that lower set of quadrants.
I'm never going to do that.
Yeah. So the way you're wired
Yeah.
to create something that continues to innovate and be lively and engaging, I think you're wired to do the work you need to do. So it's not about do we need someone in every quadrant? It's really about, are we about stabilizing right now? Do we have to get more market share? Do we have to innovate and recreate something? Do we have to focus on the people? I think a lot of our organizations right now are recognizing the burnout and the struggle. We would say that you need more cultivating strategy and people need to think more about the people, but not everybody does that.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Yes,
does. It
of
makes
course.
total sense.
Yeah. Okay.
You are a boss and trying to best align and enable your team to be successful. How exactly does this, at its core, how exactly does this do that?
So that is such a good question. We need to understand who we have around us and what they need. So one of the things, you might notice I'm wearing a t-shirt here. It says, no one is born to be a boss hole. What we're talking about right now is boss hole prevention and intervention. This is pure prevention. That if you recognize how a person is unique and different from you, and you're willing to respond to those needs. So for example, Kevin, we would say about you that your needs are to have autonomy, independence, the opportunity to be challenged, to move at a fast pace, and to not be boxed in. And
That's
if
true
I was
of him, I think. Don't you, Matt?
Yes.
Well, and I would say, Matt, your needs are to be not boxed in. You definitely want some freedom from rigid structure. You like to have some understanding of what's coming, and you like to have clarity and removal of office politics. Like the drama and the tension for you creates stress. And
Yes.
so the ability to have harmony in relationships.
I've been used as
supportive work team.
That's true.
I've had the good
Pam, too, I
fortune
think.
of being a friend of yours, certainly from my perspective for a long time, and I do consider myself very lucky. One of the things, I'm just using myself as an example, that we've talked about in groups, I think using me because I'm usually the most comfortable with it, is that sort of my comfortability with things being, or needing to have things be very flexible and informal, I also simultaneously need stability.
Yes, you do.
So the juxtaposition between these two things is not dissimilar to others, but makes,
That's the C and the D we talked about.
Yeah.
You actually need both.
Yes.
And sometimes, depending on the situation, more than the other.
Yes.
Gretchen, you
Yes.
also need autonomy. You need the opportunity to take decisive action. You love a challenge. Both of you can, by the way, be people-focused or task-focused. It really depends. Like, you can put your nose to the grindstone and get the work done, or you can think about the relationship first. But you also need quick pace, like let's have action and proactivity. You, by the way, though, as a captain, need to have some order and structure. So we're going to rely on you as that anchor for this team.
God
Does that
help
make
us
sense?
all.
It does make perfect sense. Yeah,
Sarah.
Thank you so much.
This is so
This
interesting.
I mean,
And
this
you're
is
the best person to deliver it
Yeah.
because it can be people can be defensive about it, but you walk people through it and make people feel home.
if people want more information on your organization or on the predictive index, where can they find it?
Oh, gosh, realgoodventures.com, certainly. We do have a podcast, too,
Yeah.
and that pertains to the Boss Hole nature. It's called the Boss Hole Chronicles.
It's
I
fantastic.
do have special T-shirts for the
Yes.
three of you.
Thank you.
I hope you wear them proudly. They're very comfortable.
We will
Yes.
wear them.
Yeah, and thank you for the work that you do to make the community vibrant. Appreciate being a part of that.
Sarah Best with Real Good Ventures, thank you so much. When we come back, we will wrap up this Tuesday edition of the 419.
You laughed with us. You learned with us.
Hi, neighbor.
We made sure your childhood was special. Memories that could only be provided by PBS. For generations, we've given you programs that made a difference. Programs that entertained, informed, and inspired. And today is no different. This is WGTE Public Media in Toledo. It's where you belong.
Introducing The Local Thread, a community news series uniting voices and storytellers from across the region. In partnership with La Prensa, the Toledo Free Press, the Sojourner's Truth, and Toledo Public Schools, The Local Thread brings you stories and conversations that connect our community. Hear it weeknights at 7 on FM 91 with early access on podcast platforms each morning. The Local Thread, only on WGTE.
Welcome back into the 419. Wrapped up incredible conversations with Brian Bunch from Toledo Design Collective, and then of course Sarah Best with Real Good Ventures. I am gonna
I'll be studying this all weekend to figure out how to better manage you two.
For our best, in our best interest.
Only in your best interest, not mine
no,
at all.
I appreciate that. No,
Yeah.
I think you should learn how to be less of a terrorist.
Yes.
That's what this is really about.
Yeah.
This was not
I
a
think
segment.
you meant captain. That's
This was an intervention. That's what this was. So huge thanks to our guests. Of course, so grateful for the support from the Community Foundation
Yes.
on bringing on folks like Ryan that are doing incredible work in the community. And of course, so grateful for Sarah to take the time to dive into our relationship and explain just in practice how the predictive index works. If you missed any part of the show, you can catch it 7 a.m. on YouTube, 3 p.m. on FM 91, or 6 p.m. on WGTE Connects, channel 30.4. It's the 419, powered by WGTE, presented by Wheatro Wealth Management.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.